Hi friends, welcome to our YouTube channel Naraj Academy. The main aim of this playlist is to discuss about the TSPSC HMWS questions in a very detailed manner. The exam which is happening on November 12th, in this lecture we are going to discuss the 10 questions in detailed manner. If you like the content of our channel, then please do like, share and subscribe our YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon button so whenever we upload a new video, the direct notifications comes to your mobile. If any improvements needed in our video lectures, then please do comment in the comment section and we will include all those improvements in the coming lectures. So why do waste more time? So let's get started. So now we will solve the 21st question. See the question here. The question says that which of the interrupts of 8085 microprocessor has the highest priority? The options are INTR, TRAP, RST 7.5, RST 5.5. Out of these four options, option 2, which is TRAP, is the correct answer. So let's solve this problem. So now, before understanding about the answer, let us learn some of the concepts here. Hardware interrupts and the software interrupts. These are the interrupts which are occurs in the 8085 microprocessor. But here in hardware interrupts there are actually 5 types, which are TRAP, RST 4.1 or RST 7.5, RST 6.5, RST 5.5 and INTR. Among these 5, TRAP or RST 4.5 has the highest priority when compared to the other remaining hardware interrupts. And it is also called as a non-maskable interrupt, means whenever this interrupt occurs, the microprocessor stops its own work and does the work which is given by this TRAP or RST 4.5 interrupt. After completing its work, then the microprocessor does its own work. That is why it is called as a non-maskable interrupt, means it cannot mask this one, it cannot ignore this one, it has to compulsory do the work which is provided by the TRAP or RST 4.5. But the remaining interrupts, hardware interrupts, the microprocessor may ignore these interrupts or may not. It is dependent. But here these are called as a maskable interrupts, means microprocessor can do the work or may not do the work. That is why these are called as the maskable interrupts. But these are the highest priority when compared to the remaining interrupts. See, whenever these interrupts occur, these programs are installed in a memory. There is particular address. After going there, the program will run whenever these interrupts are occurred. So there is a particular address for the program which is stored in the memory. That is why this is called as a vectored. Means out of this 5, first 4 called as a vectored, means there is a particular address, memory address. In that address only the program is stored there. That's why it is called as a vectored. But when compared to INTR, there is no address, particular program address is there. So that is why it is non-vectored. So for going the software interrupts are 8 types, which is RST0, RST1, RST2, RST3, RST4, RST5, RST6, RST7. Here also for these are all vectored, means for this whenever this interrupt occurred, the microprocessor goes to a particular address and runs the program which is stored in the address. And these are vector address also. So among this, the highest priority is given for the TRAP or RST 4.5, which is a non-maskable interrupt. This is the required solution of this question. So now let's solve another question. The question number is 22. See the question here. The question says that a single phase semiconductor is operated from 125 volt 50 hertz AC supply. If the average output voltage is 25% of the maximum possible average output voltage, the firing angle is. So here they are giving that the output average voltage is 25% of the maximum possible average output voltage. Then at this particular instant, what is the firing angle? And the converter is a single phase semiconductor. So out of the 4 options, the correct option is option B, which is 120 degrees. So let's solve this numerical. So here the output average voltage of a single phase semiconductor is Vm by pi into 1 plus cos alpha. So here they are given that here cos alpha varies from -1 to +1. So we need to find what is the maximum average output voltage. So here as cos alpha is changing from -1 to 1, so here this cos alpha is changing from -1 to 1, but we need the maximum value. So this term will be total maximum. When the cos alpha is maximum, then only 1 plus will become maximum, and therefore the whole term will be a maximum value. Suppose if we want the minimum value, then cos alpha has to be least number. The least number is -1. But in this case, they want the maximum value. Maximum value cos alpha maximum value is 1. So therefore 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. So therefore 2 Vm by pi is the maximum value. So therefore V naught average maximum is equal to 2 Vm by pi. But then in the question they want particular value of alpha, the average volt, the V naught average value at a particular alpha, which is 25% of the maximum output average voltage. So therefore V naught average, we know Vm by pi into 1 plus cos alpha is equal to 25% of, is 25 by 100 into the maximum value is 2 Vm by pi. So if we solve this equation, we will get cos alpha is equal to minus 1 by 2. So therefore alpha is equal to 120 degree. So this is the required solution of this numerical. So now let's solve the 23rd question. See the question here. The question says that a step-up chopper is used to deliver load voltage of 500 volt from a 200 volt DC source. If the blocking period of the thyristor is 80 microseconds, the required pulse width is. So here they have given a step-up chopper. The input voltage is 200 volt DC source and the output voltage is 500 volt. They have given a blocking period of the thyristor. The blocking period means the thyristor is off period. They have given the T off and they want the required pulse width. Pulse width means T on. We need to find the T on value. Out of the 4 options, option A, which is 120 microseconds, is the correct solution of this numerical. So let's solve this numerical. So this is the switch. Here the switch is on for 0 to T on period and the switch is off for T on to T. So this duration is called the T off and this duration is called the T on. So therefore the total time is equal to T on plus T off. But here T is equal to on means the thyristor is on in this period and the thyristor is off in this duration. So this duration is called as the blocking period and this is duration is called as the on period. So here they are given the blocking period, which is T off is equal to 80 microseconds. So we need to find what is the T on. The conduction where the thyristor is connected during this time period, during this interval, and this is also pulse width here. In this pulse width only the thyristor is on. So we need to find what is the value of T on. So this is the step-up chopper. So therefore the output voltage is always greater than the input voltage. So the basic equation between the input and output in a step-up chopper is V naught is equal to Vs by 1 minus D. There again the output voltage is 500 volt and the input voltage is 200. So I have substituted the 500 200 by 1 minus D. So after solving these equations, I will get D is equal to 3 by 5. Here D is equal to duty ratio or duty cycle, which is T on by T is equal to 3 by 5. Here T is equal to total time period is equal to T on plus T off. So I substituted T on by T on plus T off is equal to 3 by 5. But I already know which is T off is equal to 80 microseconds. So I substituted the instead of T off I substituted 80 microseconds and I solved the equation. So finally T on is equal to 120 microseconds. So this is the required solution of this numerical. So now we will solve the numerical. The numerical number is 24. See the question here. The question says that a step down chopper with RLE load, the per unit ripple current for fixed value of T by tau as the maximum value when duty cycle alpha is. So they are given a step down chopper with RLE load. So they are given the ripple current will be maximum when T by tau is constant. So at what value of duty cycle they are asking. Out of the 4 options, option B, which is 0.5, is the required solution of this numerical, which is the correct solution of this numerical. So let's solve this question. This is a step down chopper. This is the input voltage Vs and output voltage is V naught. Here there is a thyristor, which is a switch. It's a diode, freewheeling diode, and the load is RLE load. Here I am assuming L is a very large value, so therefore the current is a continuous one. So here the output current is I naught. So here actually I am giving a summary of the actual thing. There is a big proof for this expression, but I am giving a summary. Here see the I naught current. So when the switch is on for 0 to T on. So when the switch is on, the diode is off. So therefore there is a current is a charging. So therefore the inductor gets charged. So therefore current I naught will get increase. So during 0 to T on, the current will increase from I minimum to I maximum value. When the switch is off, so whatever the current has to flow through this diode, so therefore the current will decrease. So therefore the inductor goes on discharging. So therefore the current value will goes on decreasing. So that is why during this T on to T, the switch is off. So therefore the free wheel diode is conducting. So therefore the current will decay from I maximum to I minimum. So here this I maximum and minus I minimum, this is the ripple current. So therefore delta I is equal to I maximum minus I minimum. So here after solving this the expressions, finally we will get delta I per unit. Delta I per unit is equal to 1 minus e to the power of minus d t by tau into 1 minus e to the power of minus of 1 minus d t by tau by 1 minus e to the power of minus t by tau, where t is the time period and tau value is equal to L by R. Here delta I per unit is nothing but delta I per unit is equal to I maximum minus I minimum by Vs by R, where Vs by R is a constant value. So here I max minus I minimum is equal to delta I by Vs by R. Here we need, in this there are two parameters, which is t by tau and d, but we are assuming t by tau is equal to constant, so therefore the other parameter is d. So now we are going to change the duty ratio and we are going to find what is the delta I per unit value will be maximum at which particular value of d. So when we vary d from 0 to 1 at particular point 0.5 means, actually in order to get we need to find d delta of di per unit by dt is equal to 0. If you do this differential equation, we will get d is equal to at 0.5 we will get the maximum value. So as delta I per unit is nothing but delta I by Vs by R. So as delta I per unit is maximum, is delta is also maximum. So at d is equal to 0.5 we will get maximum ripple current. So here the correct answer is at a duty ratio which at 0.5, at 0.5 we will get the maximum ripple current. So now let's solve the numerical 25th question. See the question here. The question says that by considering the effect of source impedance in a single phase full converter, the output voltage will be maximum and minimum respectively for the overlap angles of. So here overlap angle is mu. Here they have given us single phase full converter with the effect of source impedance. So they are asking what will be the maximum and minimum value of the output voltage for the respective values of the overlap angle. As you already know, overlap angle always lies between 0 to 180 degrees. So we need to check at mu is equal to 0 and mu is equal to 180. So what are the conditions? See here, out of the four options, option B, option C, which is 0 degree and 180 degree is the correct answer for this question. So let's solve this question. So when I am not considering the source inductance for a single phase full bridge converter, for a full wave converter, the output average voltage is 2Vm by pi cos alpha. But when I am considering the source inductance, the output average voltage will decrease. So therefore the new expression is Vm by pi into cos alpha plus cos of alpha plus mu. When mu is equal to 0, we will get the previous one. But when mu is not equal to 0, this is the new expression when we are considering the source inductance, and the previous one is the without source inductance, and this is the source inductance. So by using the source inductance, the output average voltage will decreases. Here the mu value, the mu is nothing but the overlap angle, it always lies between 0 to 180 degree. So let me check at these two extreme conditions what will be the average voltage. So at mu is equal to 0, so in this expression I am going to substitute mu is equal to 0, then finally I will get 2Vm by pi cos alpha in this expression. So this is nothing but the maximum voltage. We already seen this is the, whenever the source inductance is not considered, this is the output voltage, average voltage, and this is also a maximum value. So this is the maximum value. So let me consider the other extreme case, which is mu is equal to 180 degree. So at mu is equal to 180 degree, if you substitute your mu is equal to 180 degree, cos of alpha plus 180 is nothing but a minus cos alpha. So plus cos alpha minus cos alpha will get cancelled. So therefore the V0 average mu is equal to 0. So if you see carefully here, this is the maximum value and this is the minimum value. So here at mu is equal to 0 we got the maximum value, at mu is equal to 180 we will get the minimum value. So in this range only the output voltage will lie when we are considering the source inductance. So therefore at mu is equal to 0 we got the maximum output average voltage, and mu is equal to 180 degree we got the minimum average output voltage. So now let's solve the 26th question. See the question here. The question says that a single phase full bridge inverter has a resistor load of R is equal to 4 ohm and the DC input voltage is 50 volt. The average current and the peak reverse blocking voltage of each thyristor respectively is. So here they are giving a full bridge inverter. They are given a single phase full bridge inverter and the load is purely resistive and the resistance value is 4 ohm and the input DC voltage is 50 volt. Here they are asking what is the average current and the peak reverse blocking voltage of each thyristor. See, they are asking the average current of not the output average current. They are asking the average current of the thyristor and also the peak reverse blocking voltage of the thyristor. So here out of the four options, option D, which is 6.25 ampere and the 50 volt is the correct solutions. So let's solve this numerical. So this is a circuit of a single phase full bridge inverter. The input voltage is VDC, which is already given, which is 50 volt. Here there is a pure resistor load, which is R. R is equal to 4 ohm. Here this is a circuit diagram of a single phase full bridge inverter. This is switch 1 or thyristor 1, thyristor 2, thyristor 3, thyristor 4, and these are the diodes. But in case of resistor load, these diodes are not able to conduct. Means they are not conducting during in the resistor load. But when we consider the other cases like inductor and capacitor, these diodes are also conducting in that case, but not in the case of resistor. So the output voltage is V naught of t and the current is I naught of t, which I am assumed in this direction, and also this is the polarity which I am assumed. So here let me see here, during 0 to t by 2 I am going to assume, means I am going to on S1 and S2, and during t by 2 to t I am going to on S3 and S4 switches. So whenever S1 and S2 are going to on, so therefore V naught of t is equal to VDC. So therefore V naught of t is equal to VDC. So the current I naught of t is equal to V naught of t by R. So therefore VDC by R. So therefore I naught of t is equal to VDC by R during 0 to t on. So here, but when considering the t by 2 to t, so S3 and S4 are on. So therefore V naught of t is equal to minus VDC. So therefore V naught of t is equal to minus VDC, and output current is equal to V naught by t, but V naught of t is equal to minus VDC. So therefore output current is also minus VDC by R. But here they are asking the thyristor current. Let me assume the current thyristor current through this thyristor is IS1 is the thyristor current or switch current. They are asking what is the average value of the switch current, not the load current. So therefore switch current, see here S1 and S2 are on during 0 to t by 2 only. S1 is on during 0 to t by 2 only. So therefore whatever the switch current has to be equal to the load current during the 0 to t by 2. So therefore the switch current IS1 is VDC by R during 0 to t by 2, but during t by 2 t switch S1 is off, is open, so therefore the current is 0. So we need to find the average value of this waveform, which is IS1. So we need to find the average value. Average value is area by the total time period. So VDC by R into t by 2 by total time. So therefore IS1 average is equal to VDC by R into t by 2 by total time t. So if you solve this equation, we will get VDC by 2R. We know VDC which is given 50, 2 into R we know which is 4. So if you solve this one, we will get IS1 average is equal to 6.25 ampere. So one thing is finished. We need to find another thing is the blocking voltage. How much is the blocking voltage? See here, I am assuming S1 is on, right? During S1 and S2 on, S3 is off, means we are not on this one during S1 and S2 on. So let me assume the S1 is on now. So as the S1 is on, now I am going to apply the KVL in this loop. Let me assume the polarity is plus minus VS3 and this is, so I am going through this KVL loop. So I am going from plus to minus, means minus VS3, from minus to plus, plus V naught is equal to 0. So therefore VS is equal to V naught. VS3 during 0 to t by 2, V naught output voltage is VDC. So therefore this much amount of voltage this thyristor has to able to block this one. Means during this also it must not get conduct. So therefore the blocking voltage of thyristor S3 is VDC. Therefore the each and every thyristor is going to block this much amount of voltage. So therefore VDC is already given, which is 50. So therefore this much amount of 50 volts it has to block. So therefore the average current through switch is 6.25 ampere and the blocking voltage is 50 volt. So this is the required solution of this numerical. So now let's solve the another numerical, the question number 27. See the question here. The question says that two lamps of 72 candle power lamp 1 and 32 candle power lamp 2 respectively are 1 meter apart, where the screen should be placed on a straight line passing through the lamps so as to have equal illumination on it. So they are given two lamps of candle powers which are 72 and 32. So they are kept at a distance of 1 meter and we need to place a particular surface so that the illumination on that surface from the lamp 1 and the lamp 2 are equal. So what is the particular distance from either lamp 1 or lamp 2? So here they are given the four options. Out of these four options, option A, which is 0.6 meter from lamp 1, is the right solution of this numerical. So let's solve this numerical. So these are the two lamps. This is a surface. I kept the distance between these two lamps is 1 meter. So I kept the surface between these two lamps L1 and L2. So let me assume the surface is at distance of x meters from lamp L1. So therefore this is at 1 minus x meters from the lamp L2. So therefore the illumination will be high at this near to surface near to this lamp L1, but as the distance goes on increases, the illumination goes on decreases. So here at this surface, the illumination because of lamp L1 has to be equal to the illumination due to lamp L2. So we need to find what is the value of the particular value of the x. So the basic formula is illumination is equal to I by h square. Here E is called as the illumination on surface at the distance of h. As the h's goes on increases, the illumination at the particular surface goes on decreases. So this is the basic equation. Here I is called as the MSCP, mean spherical candle power. So they are given this value in the question. So at this particular surface, the illumination due to lamp L1 is equal to illumination due to lamp L2. So therefore E1 is equal to E2. So here the MSCP of the lamp L1 is 72 and the distance is to the surface is x. So therefore we need to do the x square. Similarly for this, due to lamp L2, the MSCP, which is our intensity, which is they are given candle power is 32 by, here the distance is 1 minus x. So we need to do the square value. So now if you solve this equation, you will get x is equal to 0.6 meters. So therefore we need to keep this surface at a distance of 0.6 meters from the lamp L1 or which is 0.4 meters from the lamp L2. So this is the required solution of this numerical. So now let's solve the another numerical, question number 28. See the question here. The question says that a train has a scheduled speed of 60 km per hour on a level track, the distance between the stops being 2 km. Station stopping time is 20 seconds. The average speed of a train is. So here they have given a scheduled speed of 60 km per hour and the distance between the stops is means the stations. The distance between the stations is two stations is 2 km and the station stopping time is 20 seconds. So they are asking what is the average speed of a train. So out of these four options, option D, which is 72 km per hour, is the correct solution of this numerical. So let's solve this numerical. See here, let me explain the small concept of scheduled speed and average speed, the difference between these two things. See, this is the station 1 and this is the station 2. So therefore this train has to pass from station 1 to the station 2. See, when this is the distance between the two stations. So after reaching the station 2, the train has to stop for some amount of time. So in the scheduled speed, the distance by the time which is taken from train to go from station 1 to station 2 plus and the time which is taken by train to stop at this station 2 also included. So therefore the scheduled speed is equal to distance by the time for run and also time to stop. That two times are included in the scheduled speed. But in case of average speed, only the distance by the time of run, but the time of stop is not included in the average speed. So therefore the scheduled speed is less than the average speed, because here T stop is also included, but here T stop is not included in the average speed. So therefore scheduled speed is always less than the average speed. So here in the question, scheduled speed is equal to distance by time for taken to run from station 1 to station 2 and also time to taken to stop train at the station 2, which is T stop. Here they are given 60 km per hour scheduled speed they are given, and the distance between the two stations is 2 km, and the T run we need to figure out, and the T stop they are given 20 seconds. But these are in the kilometer per hour and this is the kilometer. So therefore we need to convert the seconds in terms of the hours. So 1 hour is equal to 3600 seconds. So we need to find what is the, for 20 seconds, what is the value of the hour. So therefore 1 by x is equal to 3600 by 20. So if you solve this one, we will get 20 seconds is nothing but the 1 by 180 hour. So therefore in place of T stop I converted the seconds in terms of hour and I substitute the value. So after solving this basic equation I will get T run is equal to 1 by 36 hour. So we need to find what is the average speed. Average speed is nothing but the distance by the T run. Here T stop is not included. So that is the reason, as the denominator is less, so therefore the total value is higher than the scheduled speed. So therefore distance it is already we know 2 km, and the T run which you already got is 1 by 36 hour. So if you solve this one, we will get 72 km per hour. So this is the required solution of this numerical. So finally the scheduled speed is always less than the average speed, because in the scheduled speed the time stop is also included but not in average speed. That is the reason the scheduled speed is always less than the average speed. So now let's solve another numerical. The question number 29. See the question here. The value of H22 for the network shown below is. So they are given electrical circuit. They are asking what is the value of the H22. So out of these four options, the correct option is answer B, which is 0. So let's solve this numerical. This is the electrical circuit which is given in the question. So for this question, for this circuit, we need to find what is the value of the H22. So V1, I2. These are the I1, V2, and this is the H11, H12, H21, H22. This is the basic equation representing the hybrid network. So I am taking the second row, which is I2 is equal to H21, I1 plus H22, V2. So for this, we need to find what is the value of H22. So therefore, I1 has to be equal to 0. Then I2 by V2 at I1 is equal to 0. At this condition, we are going to find the what is the value of the H22. Here the condition is I1 is equal to 0. So I1 is equal to 0 means we need to open circuit this one, means we are not going to connect any source. As I1 is equal to 0, so therefore clear I1 is also equal to 0. So therefore this will become open circuit. Because the current is 0, so this will become open circuit. So now here V2 is there, here I2, so therefore the I2 value is equal to 0 because no current is flowing. I2 is equal to 0, but this is a non-zero value which is V2. So therefore 0 by V2 is equal to 0. So therefore H22 is equal to 0 mho is the correct answer of this question. So this is the last question of this lecture. The question number is 30. See the question here. The question says that a power station has a maximum demand of 20,000 kilowatt with the annual load factor of 60% and the plant capacity factor of 50%. The reserve capacity of the plant is. So they are given a maximum demand of 20,000 kilowatt and the load factor of 60% and the plant capacity factor of 50%. So now we need to find what is the reserve capacity of the plant. So out of these four options, option D, which is 40,000 kilowatt, is a correct solution. So let's solve this numerical. So they are given the maximum power demand is 20,000 kilowatt or 20 megawatt. So load factor is equal to 0.6. Plant capacity factor is also given just 0.5. So now we need to find what is the reserve capacity. Reserve capacity basic formula is plant capacity minus maximum demand. So another formula is also there, which is P maximum into load factor minus plant capacity factor by plant capacity factor. So we know P maximum is equal to 20 megawatt, load factor is 0.6, plant capacity factor is 0.5 and plant capacity factor is 0.5. So after solving this one, we will get 4 megawatt or we can write this as a 4,000 kilowatt. So if you forgot this formula, I have just given a derivation how to write this formula also. See, load factor is equal to average load by maximum demand. So and plant capacity factor is equal to average load by plant capacity. So now average load is equal to load factor into P max, and here also average load is equal to plant capacity factor into plant capacity. So I equated this both terms because the average load is common in these two equations. So now I want plant capacity. Plant capacity is equal to load factor by plant capacity factor into P maximum. So the basic equation is reserve capacity is equal to plant capacity minus P maximum. So plant capacity we already know, which is this one I have substituted here in the year, and I have taken the P max term constant, and then I did the division here. Then I got Pmax is equal to load factor. Reserve capacity is equal to maximum demand into load factor minus plant capacity factor by plant capacity factor. In case if you forgot this formula also, we can derive this one in a fraction of seconds. So this is the required solution of this numerical. So by this lecture we have completed the 30 questions which are the questions of the TSPSC HMWS, the exam which is happened on the November 12th. So if you like the content of our channel, then please do like, share and subscribe our YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon button. So whenever we upload a new video, the direct notifications comes to your mobile. If you have any improvements needed in the video lectures, then please do comment in the comment section, and we will definitely include all those improvements in the coming lectures. Thank you for watching this lecture. Keep smiling, take care, and bye bye.